Are you tired of living a life you don't love? Do you crave more and find the pathway elusive? Well, welcome to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, the Intuitive Coach, and Dr. Pat, as we begin to discover your unique personal magic and easy steps to create that life you love, that life you crave. As a life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive, I am passionate about helping you tap into your intuition and learn to work with your inner resources to use your energy to create a life you desire. You don't have to be positive, stuff your feelings, or spend lots of time and money on self-development, because during this show, we'll show you the how and why. Ready to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead in the intuitive coaching way? Call in, write in, plug in. The Intuitive Coaching Show starts now.
Hey, everybody, welcome. I am so thrilled to be doing this show with Ruth. Let me tell you what today is about. If you want to be a psychic, you must develop a relationship with Mother Earth. I must say that. If you want to be a psychic, you must develop a relationship with Mother Earth. What does that look like? What do we get from it? And that's what Ruth is going to talk to you all about today. Ruth, this is so very important. I got to tell you, and in most of the conversations that we have, especially with folks that call into my 4:00 show, this is not something we talk about. And, you know, I don't know why we're leaving it out of the conversation. So talk about this. How do we benefit? What is this connection to Mother Earth? What does it do for us? And the bottom line is, when we don't, we're just not going to get to where we want to be.
That's right. That's right. It's something I've been relearning lately.
Yeah.
In my school of hard knocks, actually. But it's become more and more apparent to me that we have a special relationship to the earth because we're here. And it's different. And we all are trying, us spiritual people are all trying to rise above it. And the truth is, we came here not to rise above it, but to play that game and bring the spiritual to earth here. There's a lot of philosophical stuff we could discuss, but the point is that there's some really practical stuff you can do to make the relationship better. And the relationship is being scientifically proven more and more as we go along. It sounds fanciful. It isn't. It makes a huge difference. And we like to downplay the earthly existence, but Mother Earth really supports us and allows our energy to work properly. So when I do hypnosis, the first thing I do is I ground and center the person. And when I ground and center you, you can suddenly work from your heart center, your Tantien, you can create, you can use your energy much better. So it's really important. And there are a couple of things that we can do with our relationship with Mother Earth that are very, very practical and helpful. And the first one is to clear our own energy. Because if you want to work with energy, you got to understand, well, you don't have to understand it, actually. You can work with energy without understanding it, but it helps to understand how it works. And the earth has a connection with us that allows us to release stuff that isn't ours. And these days, man, there's a lot of stuff that isn't ours. And we get it online, we get it everywhere, and we're not grounded because we're in the house, we're in a building, we're wearing shoes, we're never barefoot on the ground. So we don't tend to relate to Mama Earth as much as we should. And the other thing is, I've found that I feel kind of apologetic to her.
Yeah.
Like maybe she doesn't love me anymore.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find, most of my clients find that once we establish that connection, there's so much support to be had.
Yeah. Let me just say this real quick. I'm a kid from New York. And so most of my life I grew up, my dad, when we moved in the Bronx, instead of having like this little teeny backyard, which that's what you get, he poured cement. So we had a cement backyard. it didn't really matter because we were living in the cement world, right? We didn't really. But the minute that I got introduced to other things outside of that, the contrast was so great and the draw to nature was so great. And why am I bringing it up? Because I just finished the show with Daniel and we were talking about awareness is so critical in rewiring the mind. Awareness is so critical in tapping into your psychic abilities. And what you're talking about here today is free. Connecting with Mother Earth is free. But I want to throw this back at you because I know for me, as much awareness as I have had to work with another person to help me. That's why you're here. That's why you're a coach. Because sometimes we're so in ourselves that we can't see a next step. And that's what I love about the show today, because the next steps may be something as, oh, I just noticed a dragonfly outside my window. This is really what we're talking about. Without that connection, it doesn't even make sense because we're on Earth, right, Ruth? We're like on the Earth. I'm sorry.
It's the truth. And the concrete doesn't matter.
No.
There's a lot of scientific evidence for earthing, which I'm not going to get into, but it's the extreme where you're barefoot on the earth and you can improve your body's health and reduce inflammation and all kinds of great stuff. I used that very successfully when I had long COVID. It helped me enormously. You can ground on your bare feet in your cement cellar. I've done that. So the concrete is not the issue. Probably getting away from the people in the city was the big difference that you noticed. But nevertheless, Mother Earth is always there for you, but if you connect with her well, it's much, much better. You're much better supported. You function better. I have lots of practical steps for people and lots of quick and easy ways of doing things. The first one I come up with when I think of Mother Earth is you are aware that you have source energy coming into your body all the time. And when that source energy comes in, other energy can leave. Well, what do you do with the other energy? I mean, you can't go to a board meeting and sage yourself. Well, some board meetings you can, but you can't go to a board meeting and sage yourself very conveniently. There are lots of ways to release energies that are not yours, that you picked up here and there along the way, that you picked up by reading the news or seeing the news or being around a complaining person, and you want to get rid of it before you go on to the next thing. The fastest, easiest way to do that is let the energy flow. Let the energy flow into Mother Earth. She transmutes it very beautifully. No big deal to her. It might be driving you nuts, but Mother Earth doesn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I suggest to people a different way to ground.
Yeah, tell us what have you found? Give us some ideas because this is so exciting and it's so easy. It really is.
This is wonderful because you can do it while you're talking to somebody at a cocktail party. You can do it while you're in that board meeting I mentioned, if you go to those things. You can do it while you're at the grocery store. And that is to picture a connection between your tailbone, not your feet, your tailbone, and the very center of the earth. A field of energy. I think of it as gravity.
Yeah.
And just let anything that's in your body that doesn't belong there drift out and flush into the earth. Just let it go.
I love that you're talking about gravity. I love this. You and I in previous shows, we've talked about a bunch of things, manifestation, but we talked about things. But here's the thing, Ruth, that I want to drive home in this. All of the things we've talked about, whether it's manifesting, changing a perspective, rewiring your brain, taking yourself out, all of those are wonderful for our awareness. But when we're talking about connecting with the earth, there is nothing more powerful that can be done. Now, I love what you just gave. For me, I wear a raw stone right here. I wear three things, but I wear this raw stone. And if I'm out and people always comment, oh, I love your bracelet. Like if they knew why I wear these, right? Of the earth, right? Oh, I love your little shiny bracelets. Okay, first of all, do you want to know what that one is? And second of all, do you want to know this goldstone bracelet? So when I'm out, I need a lot. I'm a person, and I want to ask you about this because there are many people that have had psychic visions of their lives. And then there are many people that ask, why is it not manifesting? So I really want to be clear. Why is it not manifesting? Because there are things we can do. Now, for me, I have been very fortunate. In 1997, I was at a critical point in my life. Critical. I was in school. I was going to be this big time consultant working for Deloitte, one of the big firms. I was. And then I wasn't. What changed? A 10-day vision quest with a woman named Sidonia Cahill, who wrote the first book on ceremonial circles, who became my mentor. Everything changed. Why? 10 days in the earth. No cell phone. Now, I'm not telling people to do this, but I am saying, Ruth, this is the work you do with people. You can help people. Because
Yes,
if we don't make this connection, we are disconnected. And if we are disconnected from the energy and the magnification of the earth, we are disconnected from the greater good.
that's right. And you
I got
can
a little
only get
preachy right there.
the
Sorry.
good news is you can only get so disconnected. I mean, unless you look at outer
We're
space.
on earth.
Yes. But, I in my work, I try to make things easy and things that you can do in your everyday life without twisting yourself into a pretzel. Now, I've spent 12 hours in a kiva in a ceremony, and that's great if you want to do that. I talk to some people who go, "Oh God, yuck, what, how?" It's not for everybody, but you can just release energy through your grounding field, and Mother Earth will take it on. The other thing you can do with that grounding field is communicate with her. And if you're not driving right now, I'm going to invite you to call down that field of energy, call down that field of gravity, and just say hello to Mother Earth. Give her a moment to say something back to you. Just feel what it feels like to do that.
Yeah.
Feel what her connection feels like. I can't tell you, I'd probably say 99% of my clients respond with, she loves me. And she loves me after all we've done to her.
Yeah.
She loves us. And it's the weirdest thing. And it's not what I expected. It's very lovely. It's very supportive. It makes you feel very reassured and it can really brighten up your day. And then the other thing she does is allow you to have your full power by releasing that stuff that doesn't belong there. And granted, we do that in a lot of ways, but you are able to have full power when you're grounded to Mother Earth, when you're
Yeah.
centered there, when you're stable. You're
Yeah.
stable. You're less likely to fall. You're less likely to have bad things happen to you. I've heard law enforcement people who say that if you're grounded, you're less likely to be the victim of a crime.
Oh, yeah.
And I've used this with clients who are being abused or bullied, and I've had my fair share of these clients and my fair share of these experiences in corporate America. And it's so interesting because once you get grounded and centered, people treat you with more respect.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I want to get to this for a minute because, and by the way, if you want to work with Ruth, let's give out your website because what I'm about to say is going to be very important for people. But here's the thing I learned. Most of my life, I thought I could do things alone until I realized I couldn't. The reason that I didn't end up dead is because my best friend, who you know, Linda, her family, her parents became a bedrock for me. And so this is where what I'm learning now in life. And people know this. They have pushed through the pandemic, most of them alone. And they're
Mm.
still having that energy of doing it alone. And honestly, for us today, If you're not able to work with somebody to help you, all of us have coaches, Ruth, myself, you have the Mother Earth to help you.
That's right. That's right. And I've watched people, I mean, I've watched it myself. I worked for somebody who was pretty overpowering for a while. And I noticed that when I would remember, oh, yep, let's ground, I'd be talking to this person who'd be coming at me like this, and all of a
Mm,
sudden that person would take a step back.
yeah,
And a couple of times that person even said, oh, wait a minute, what were you going to say? And became polite all of a sudden.
yeah,
And I trained my staff, my sales staff to use grounding, and they found that people listened to them better. I helped people who had abusive home lives to use grounding, and you're just less at the effect of other people. You can still hear them, you can still relate to them, but you don't have to take all their energy on.
yeah. And I love what you said. There's nothing that really creates this inner, I don't know what to call it. Maybe you can talk. I love your gravity term, but there's something about Mother Earth that brings power to you. And I'm not using the word empowerment because that's not appropriate for me. It brings a sense of power and confidence. And what are we talking about here, Ruth? We're talking about take your shoes off, right? And go walk on your front lawn, unless you've got something on there, just stand, go outside. When I lived in the city, I would take my shoes off and I would just go stand outside of my deck. I had a cement deck when I lived on Capitol Hill, and I would just stand out there with my shoes off, right? There are so many things we could do, but I want to get back to something you said. This level of connection with Mother Earth helps us stop the chatter, the mind manipulations, the fear, the doubt. Can you talk to that?
Sure. There's a couple of things that are going on. There's an electromagnetic connection with the planet. You don't have to take your shoes off to ground. I've found that the grounding from the tailbone down to the center of the planet is
Mm,
very, very effective.
powerful.
We're always taking in energy through the feet, the chakras in the bottoms of the feet. Also, that's kind of a different story. So once you're grounded, you're doing a couple of things. You're getting down into your centers that are not in your head. So you're not listening to the blah, 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 blah. The other thing is you're releasing the energy of all the stuff you've encountered all day. And when you listen to the news or talk to a friend who's complaining or afraid, you kind of get implanted with those thoughts. And you can get focused on those thoughts that are not helpful to you. And when you release those and let them ground out of your field, you're clear, you're free, and you have access to your own stuff. And that's why it creates respect with other people, because then when you see me grounded, you see Ruth. You're relating to Ruth. You're not relating to Ruth and a whole bunch of other stuff she heard earlier today, or a bunch of things she's worried about. You're relating to Ruth in her center. And when you're grounded, you're Dr. Pat in her center with all that you bring, all the power you bring to the interaction. And it's a legitimate power. It's not power over, it's legitimate power, the expression of you as an individual and as a resident of the planet as it happens.
Yeah. And let's talk about this energy, this connection. We know it, we feel it. We know it, we feel it. Um, and I want to ask you this question. It is so expansive. I mean, we're not even talking about the expansive nature of the earth right now. Yes, we could treat it better. We could treat Mother Earth better. But even though we don't, she keeps giving. And if we could recognize that that is what we are tapping into, our smallness goes away. Our small thinking, our small acting, our fear, right? And these are the kinds of things that we're offering people to look at in their lives, and they can do it now. What is your suggestion to get people started on this today?
First, go to ruth-wilson.com and schedule a conversation with me. It can be as simple as a half an hour to see what you need and what we can do. And start learning some practical applications. Remember that we are all connected, really. And Mother Earth is hugely powerful, and she's not really as worried about us as we think she is. She doesn't have to be. We should be worried about ourselves more than the planet, I think. But that's Ruth's opinion. Um, and it's not scientific necessarily, but it's huge energy that is available to you. It's available in practical ways. It's your birthright. You've been working with this energy all your life, whether you know it or not. I just teach people ways of using it more effectively, getting more out of it, recognizing who they really are. We live in a world that is constantly telling us who we aren't, what we don't have, what we could lose, what we should be afraid of, all the bad things that could happen. And the truth is that if things are left to themselves, pretty random events are usually pretty good. And so intuitive coaching can teach you to bank on that a little bit more and be
Yeah.
a, the big, magical, powerful, spiritual person that you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think every morning we should get up and look in the mirror and say, I
Yeah.
am a goddess, I am a god, I am magic, I am so cool, and
Yeah.
I'm doing great things. And even if you don't believe that stuff, just know that it's all based on science too.
Yeah, it is. You know what I love about this? Because we are intuition magnets. It is our nature from the time we're a little teeny baby. And the reason I love this show today in particular is because we're enabling ourselves to do something that doesn't require us to be in Costa Rica. It doesn't require us to take a space shuttle somewhere. It doesn't require us to fill in your own blank. It is readily available and has been put here by life force energy to help us and support us. And this is what changes things. How do we know that when we get that thought of optimism, it works? Do exactly, Ruth, what you're saying. And when you get that intuitive hit, as I like to call it, you're going to know it. And then the life connection to Earth is going to enable you to powerfully step forward and do something about it. See, the Earth is a Capricorn energy, and that is about doing something. That's the
Powerful
1-2 punch, isn't
executive.
it? Yeah.
Mhm. Powerful executive energy. And yeah, quit cutting yourself off from it. Our whole life is cutting ourselves off from the earth and from what is naturally ours.
Mm.
And all we have to do is establish that connection again. And you
Mm.
can do it by intention. You could go do it by going out in your backyard without shoes. You could do it a million different ways. You can clear your energy. You can't manifest anybody else's energy. You can only manifest with your own.
Mm.
So clear your energy, let the earth have that stuff. She'll transmute it and make it available to all of us.
Ruth, two things. How do people find out more about you? And the hardest part of this is really thinking we got to do everything ourselves. And that just doesn't work for me anymore. So, how do they find out about you? How do they find out about your coaching? All of the above. And by the way, if you hear something today and you're thinking that's not me, but it could be for my niece, it probably is. So, how do they find out about you?
Come to ruth-wilson.com. Schedule a free conversation with me of a few minutes. Find out
Mm.
what I can do. what I have available. I have lots of resources on my website, and I have a Facebook group of people that discuss becoming intuitive, becoming magic, using your own intuitive magic. That's available through my website. And you can call me. I'm very accessible, and we can decide whether you need my help. If you need a little or a lot, I'm happy to offer it.
I love it. What's your personal message today, Ruth? What do you want to leave us with?
I think my personal message is stop disconnecting from what's really yours and start accepting this connection with the planet. There's so many more things that I'd say to connect with, but right now we're talking about Mother Earth, and I'm
Yeah.
saying, yeah, just appreciate that. Yeah, you're loved, you're cared for, you're cradled on this planet, you're here for a reason. Do what you can with it.
Yeah. And I know there are lots of other things we could talk about, but grounding in Mother Earth is a starting point for so many things, isn't it?
It really is.
Thank you, Ruth. Ruth Wilson, everybody. For those of you out there, like we said, if you want to get some help, for me, this is about accelerating movement in our lives to really get to the place where we're fulfilling our dreams and our desires. And that's what you can do with Ruth. The other thing I want to say for everybody out there is that I know you've been walking this walk alone. We're hearing this a lot here at the network. You're walking the walk alone. You walk through the pandemic, which literally 4 years, really, the aftermath, the wave of that. And what I'm also hearing is people are tired of doing it. They want people to work with, they want a team. And if that's you, please reach out to Ruth, schedule a call, and get some help about how to magnify, amplify what you want in life. We'll see you next time.
Right. Thank you for tuning in to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, and Dr. Pat. Tune in and watch next time for easy steps for creating a life you love. Every first Thursday of the month, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 Eastern, on transformationtalkradio.com to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead the intuitive coaching way. Discover your inner magic and how easy it can be without censoring yourself or spending years on self-development. Move toward what you desire right now, the intuitive coaching way. For more information, connect with me visiting intuitivecoach.info.